Welcome to the StockMinute.com. I'm your stock miner, Brian Johnson. Another still in the pullback, guys. We haven't changed that. View hasn't changed. Still neutral to bullish in the shorter term, maybe even longer term. But for right now, I'm still neutral to bullish as we are right here. We did not break below this level of 11,200. More importantly, the 20-day moving average. And you can see that the decline still continues, even though we get these big red candles down. It still continues to be a very how would you say it? Managed decline, I guess. That's what they're calling it in the dollar. A very managed decline of the dollar. And the same thing is true here in the market. It's a very managed decline at this point, but this is certainly not exactly what you want to see. If you're bearish on these markets, if you really want to get bearish on this market, this isn't what you want to see. You want to see big candles coming in of lots of selling, big heavy selling coming in. We haven't seen anything like that so far. We've seen dashes of selling followed by the bulls coming back in to kind of buy things up again, mopping up the mess, letting their bears have their whatever it is, 15 minutes of fame, and then the bulls just come in and buy this back up. So what we're seeing is just this slow decline. Nothing major here yet. Still waiting for these levels down here to be broken on the markets. We did not even come back to test the 20-day. I will bring it to your attention to that it is now at or above the 11,200 mark. So now 11,200 is my area to be watching for any kind of a more major pullback in the markets. Keep in mind that what we're seeing here, though, guys, is every day we get a move down in the markets, or have had a move down in the markets, and the bulls just keep buying it up. It's as though, it's manna from heaven for them because they continue to get in at a better price. So we'll watch this 11,200. I'm going to warn you, if you want to take a short below 11,200, great. I don't have a problem with it. But keep your stops tight, because do not be surprised if we see a dash below 11,200, only to see the bulls buy it right back up again, putting the wicks on the bottom side of that particular daily candle. So we'll want to watch that. We want closes below 11,200. Keep that in mind. So we're coming back into some very strong support area, and you can see every time we get close, people just keep buying it up. So we're still waiting for these breaks here. Above you, yeah, above 11,350, above 11,400, maybe for a more aggressive long. Otherwise, above 11,450, haven't changed our view on that yet. Here, the NASDAQ took a huge hit today on some Cisco news, but quickly was bought back up by the bulls. So, yes, we did see a big drop in the NASDAQ, but the bulls are like, yeah, cool, cheap. It's cheap. So now they're buying it right back up. Came up to find resistance right at the 20 and the 50, which are now in a convergence here, and they're holding very nicely so far. Any break up and above that, watch for that blue line to be retested, and you can see what we hit. The low of the day was 2145, which was below, I talked about that 2140, 2150 area that we're watching to get below. Sure enough, we managed to open up right around in that area today, opening it right around 2150, dropping ever so slightly into that 2140-ish area, and then of course the bulls just came in with a fury, bought that thing right back up again. You can see that heavy support sitting down here on the NASDAQ. So things looking just fine. This high base formation that we had been watching now does get changed. It is no longer a high base formation. It is now just as, I think I'm just going to qualify this as just a pullback. So no big change. It's still bullish. Just changed it from a high base formation to a pullback formation now. So you can see we're still waiting to see if we can get back below these areas. Watch that 20-day. I think that 20-day should be up at or around the 2140-ish mark. Everything's starting to really come into context now from the support and the 20-day time frames. Watching for breaks below that 20-day for your shorting opportunity if you want to short the NASDAQ. For the week, look at this. We're coming into the last day of the week. We haven't gone anywhere. We've seen this dance before. Move up, little bit of a red candle, and move sideways, move up, little tiny, little topping candle there. Looks like a little dragonfly doji there. Didn't go. We went up, little spinning top, went up again with the major move in the Fed. Once again, little tiny candle being put in. Coming into Friday, I don't know if we're going to see much movement either. Want to watch it closely for the first couple hours, but we may not get much movement tomorrow at all in the markets themselves. And we'll finish, if that's the case, this candle will finish about where it's at right here with a little teeny tiny doji candle of some sort maybe. And in that respect, still nothing to be worried about. Everything's very bullish from that standpoint. as it consolidates. SPX, same type of story here. Pulled back, found support at the blue line, bounced up. Came down today, found support at the blue line, bounced right back up. Bulls are like, yeah, whatever, this is great. Cheap. We're buying it cheap down at the 1205 area. They love this area down here. So as long as this line holds, I think everything's fine from a bullish standpoint. Waiting for breaks down below into these areas here to start getting more bearish on it. But you got to, of course, wait for that break. Now, if we get back above 12, 20, 12, 1222-ish or so, that's a more aggressive place to get long. And then back above 1230 is still an opportunity to get long. I'd be very careful up in that, though. I just still see this as maybe here some sort of a 1, 2, 3. This is a 4 wave. Now it's just waiting for a 5 pop to the upside. It could have finished the 5 up already. That could be over with. We do not know. This is why it's so dangerous to play these finishing waves up here. It's up to you. But you'll want to wait for breaks up and over these areas before you call that, the last wave up or whatever it might be of this next major move. Any breaks back down into these areas, and especially back below 1190-ish or so, probably negate all of that. SPX on a daily, we did get back below 1220. Now notice that we've closed twice, not once but twice now, actually 3 times, below the 1220 area. So that is the first overhead obstacle for the bulls to do. Good news, you betcha, that could actually gap us up and above 1220. The markets are begging for any kind of good news to rally on. They are loving the markets up here. There's no fear whatsoever at this point in time. Very indicative by the VIX when we get there, you can see. So for the week, we are back below the 1220 area. I said it'll be interesting to see if the bears will get it back below that, and they have so far, but we have 1 day left before we can call this a close to the candle. VIX on a daily look. Every time the VIX spikes up a little bit, fear kind of subsides. Then we have big spikes up. Yeah, fear just kind of subsides. It's holding very nicely though within our pattern, so we'll continue to watch this. Still looking for the bigger breaks out and above here. Maybe we see these type of breaks. See where the VIX just spiked really hard this one day, or these days in here. Maybe we see that type of movement. It's anybody's guess. But until that happens, there's just no fear in the markets. It is what it is. So everybody's very, very content down here with where the markets are at and where pricing is at. From a weekly too, we'll close that candle out tomorrow, but still stuck in that falling wedge we've been watching. Apple was down $1.38 today, but you can see it just kind of basing around up here towards the top. Been stuck between that 315 and 320-ish range here for the last umpteen days. So just finding its groove up here, figuring out which direction it wants to go next, but you have to view this as we are viewing everything else, and that is right now is just a pullback. Get back below the 20-day. That's not a bad shorting opportunity in Apple if you want to short Apple. I guess from my standpoint, this would be a good time to cover profits if it got back below the 20-day and ultimately close below the 20-day. Then I would maybe wait to see if there's a better entry down the road within Apple. But below the 20 on any close below that, we could start to see it creep back into this area here. It's quite a distance. And keep in mind, Apple at $300 doesn't take it much to move. 10, 15 bucks. That's not a large distance at all for it to cover. From a weekly perspective, though, still holding good right up here towards the top. Once again, 1 day left, so we'll see where we finish the week. FAS on a 60-minute also doing the same thing today here. Saw the gap down, rise up, and then kind of finish sideways for the day. Really not going anywhere, where the bank index as well was just kind of flat all day. Here at the $24 mark, you can see it's holding very nicely. So still have to put the respect in the bulls' hands for the time being. Yes, we could have finished a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could be done with the 5. Yes, no. I would maybe tend to think yeah, but until we break these lower levels, I'm certainly not just going to short the FAS at this point and hope for the best. So we might have a little bit more wandering to do down here before we see a more major move in the financials, giving us something to play. FAZ on a 60-minute, once again, breaks up above 1140 to the long side and breaks below this 1075 to the short side. Should give you some sort of profits during the course of a day. It's just a matter of waiting it out and making sure the charts give the entries to you before you take the entries. Don't front run them. Don't be guessing up here. Don't be guessing up here. So this is consolidating right here, really just kind of in a symmetrical triangle type of a formation at this point, and we're waiting for the break one way or the other. Tomorrow might be the day. Anybody's guess. Any push up and above that 1140 area, watch this blue line, which is now sitting at or around, what, 1180-ish or so, somewhere up in that area. Watch closely into that 1175 to $12 area. I'll tell you that I would just be watching that area on any push to the upside. So don't get greedy. If you can get a good trade on this, if it happens to get above 1140, you get in on some of it. Don't get greedy. Take your 30-40 cents and be happy. Call it a week. Remember, last day of trading for the week. Typically we've had some pretty good Fridays. Fridays have been days of either wandering sideways and or up, as opposed to huge crashes in the market. So we'll wait to see if the bears decide to roll in on a Friday and spook people into the weekend. But as I've said, we haven't seen any of that so far. Pushes to the downside tomorrow. I would watch for the more major lines to be broken. We are close to them now. Keep that in mind. We are nearing a lot of these lower marks, like the 11,200 marks. Might be an opportunity there tomorrow, but I'm telling you, any good news by the markets in any shape or form could move this thing up and give you a little bit of an intraday trade coming into the weekend on a move up and over that 11,350 mark, and or for the more aggressive, or 11,400. Ultimately, 11,450 is what we'd want to be watching. Keep those levels in mind. I'll be back with you again tomorrow night. Bye.